And so that is how I wrote stories when I was your age. So I wondered, do you have any ideas about how I write my stories now? Do you imagine me sitting in front of a state-of-the-art computer, or maybe lying back on a sofa dictating to a secretary? No, I do it in exactly the same way, in a notebook with a pen. Every morning, even this morning, I took out my notebook as soon as I wake up, sit up in bed, and start writing. Now, this story that I'm writing at the moment, it doesn't just fill this notebook. I think this is the 5th notebook, and now that's chapter 15, and actually, my handwriting is nowhere near as neat as it was when I was a little girl. But this is the way I like to write. I often change my mind. I cross things out. I'm in my own private little world, writing away. And then when I've finished writing the entire story in longhand, then I have to sit down at my computer and type it all out, which is quite a task because often I can barely read my own handwriting. And then that is the time when I stop being creative and writing just for myself. Then when I'm typing it out on the computer, I can change all the different bits and pieces. I can hone my paragraphs. I can think of more interesting ways of expressing things. I can also think of my readers and think, now, will they find this bit boring? Or will they understand this bit? And I sort things out as I go. So that is all the practical bit, the typing out on the computer part. The exciting, lovely bit is when I'm writing. And also, I'm going to tell you something that possibly might irritate some of your teachers. I don't plan it all out beforehand. That's because I've written so many books, it's about 100 books now, that somehow there's something in my brain that knows how to pace a book, how to work it all out, how to have exciting bits and then come to the right sort of conclusion. So when I start writing my stories now, I just think as vividly as I can of the characters, try and make them as real to me as my own best friend is. And then when I know all about them, I just have some very rough idea of what they're going to be thinking, what's going to happen to them. I start writing. And that's what makes it exciting for me, because I don't know what's going to happen on the next page, or in the middle, or even at the end. And so it keeps me going. I find if I plan it all out carefully, I've got fed up with the story before I even start. So I love the whole idea of going into shops and choosing lovely notebooks. I have all sorts of different pens. I try my hardest to make writing as fun and as interesting as I can, because I don't actually always feel like writing. Lots of people think that writers suddenly, it's as if a light goes on in their head, inspiration, and I have to sit down to write. Often, I really have to push myself, make myself actually sit up and start writing. But the moment I'm in my own imaginary world, then somehow it takes over. And it's not as if I'm actually me writing a story. It's almost as if there's a television screen inside my head and I'm experiencing it. Now, when you choose to write a story, you can write it all different ways. I find it easiest to write in the first person, as if I am the child themselves telling the story. I find it's the most immediate and interesting way to write, and it's certainly a good way if you're an adult writing for children. It helps you actually remember what it felt like to be a child. And at the moment, I can't see any wood to touch. I'll cross my fingers. I haven't run out of ideas. And as I said, I have now managed to write about 100 books.